The most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. Bill Gates. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Last week, we covered 5 key elements to deliver exceptional customer service. They were utilize the power of first impressions, build customer relationships, use effective communication skills, handle customer complaints and feedback, and consider personalization and customization. You can go back and check out last week's episode to dive deeper into each of these if you have not listened already. But this week, we're going to cover a few more. First up is create a culture of service excellence. Now, this goes back to something we talked about in episode 197, and that is establishing core values. Most of us have values for ourselves. They may or may not be written down, but they are in our heads and in our hearts. We may value family. We may value our religion. We may value fitness, and we may build out core values around those things. One of our family core values, for example, is lifelong learning, and we chose that as a family core value because we want the kids to value learning throughout their lives. Do you have values, though, in your business that promote excellence in service? Because as business owners, we should have values as well. And our company's core values will guide not only us, but also our team members or our employees. Our company's core values are promises, accuracy, logic, systems, positive and engaged, no silos, and action-oriented self-starters. If you want to check out what they each mean, I have put the link to the video that's on our business's website in the show notes. We want our customers to know our core values as well. And it's truthfully helpful for team members or prospective team members to be aware of them also. Our core values serve as both internal and external guidelines for operating our business. However, core values will only go as far as your team is made aware of them. Everyone in our company is required to know the core values. Another part of establishing this is sharing a vision for your company. Where are you headed? What would you want your company, or what do you want your company to look like in 3 to 5 years? If you have a team, it is a great idea to ensure that this is communicated to them as well, so that everyone is working towards one common mission, one common vision. Thus, if you want to create a culture of service excellence, your core values are like your foundation to that. Your core values and your vision and mission should speak to that. Number 2 is empower your employees. In order to truly empower your employees, you must establish standards of operating procedures. And I know we've talked about this before as well. But you have to go farther than that because you have to actually train around those standards. And typically, your core values are going to be a part of these standards. So you're training on the standards for each department that you have or each area of business that you're operating. You are training around the core values when it comes to how you want your team members or even yourself to operate. I can recall a couple of years ago, I had a guest on. Her name was Jennifer, and she talked about how even as a solopreneur, it's advantageous to have business core values with just one person because it allows you to make sure that you're staying the course of what you want your business to do, how you want it to grow. If things come up, you can see if it aligns with your core values and determine if you want to move forward with that. And so Establishing your standard operating procedures and having your core values being a part of that, you simply have to also train around that. And training is essential. And the communication piece of that is essential. Last week, I mentioned the Ritz-Carlton and how their team members have $2,000 an incident to rescue a guest experience. And that's what they call it, rescuing a guest experience. The key to empowering your team members or employees is ensuring that they have adequate training. And Ritz-Carlton employees can be empowered to make the right decision for a guest because they're trained around what the company's values are. It's our job to equip our staff to handle various customer scenarios autonomously. Now, sometimes, even myself, and I mentioned this in the last episode as well, I don't always know how I want to handle something. I may have to think about it. And your team members may have that same moment. But letting them know that they have the autonomy to solve something for a customer is vital. And when you have your values and your vision, they can be sure that they're staying in alignment with those. You see, clarity is kindness. So clear core values, a clear mission, a clear vision, clear standards of operating procedure and training makes your team's life easier. They don't have to guess. And if you have happy team members, which is the internal portion of your business, then more often than not, they will treat clients and customers and guests with kindness. I know many of us are small businesses. We can't be Google and Facebook and give out free food and unlimited PTO. But there are things we can do to help ensure that our team is happy in our business. And that may be a conversation for another episode. But I know if we are able to give our team empowerment and make sure they're trained on our values, operating procedures, all of those great things, then they will act accordingly when it comes to serving the customer, which ultimately leads to customer service excellence or exceptional customer service. Number 3 is measuring customer satisfaction. Now, sometimes this may be a little scary because you might not want to hear feedback, but you should make it a habit to ask for feedback. I'm certain that we've all encountered the end of a call survey with a company, as well as the messages that state all calls are recorded for quality assurance or for training purposes. Even if you're a small business, this is something that you can do as well. Many years ago, we set up an automation that once an order was shipped out, a customer receives an email approximately 10 days, maybe 12 days later, asking them for feedback in regards to their order. Sometimes the feedback may not be things that we actually want to hear, or it may be things that we know we do need to do better, but we haven't quite figured out how to deliver on it yet. But the goal is to get this feedback so we can get better. And as the Bill Gates quote states at the top of the episode, the most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. Customers are great. Happy customers are great. But those customers who are unhappy or dissatisfied with something, those are the customers that will push us to grow and get better. As I mentioned in last week's episode, if you get negative feedback or an unhappy customer, you want to assess what part you played in that negative feedback and then figure out a solution. And figuring out a solution, oftentimes this will make your company better. For example, several years ago, I can remember our proofs used to be really simple. They would just show the item. And initially when we started Stuff for Greeks, we only sold jackets. So we just had a proof for jackets. It was a jacket symbol or it was a jacket image. And then at the very bottom right-hand corner, there was the size of the jacket. And that was it. But one day we had a client that received his jacket and he called livid. I mean, he was very, very upset because he received a white jacket and he had ordered a blue jacket. But what he thought was going to be a blue jacket appeared white on the proof, but he didn't realize that it should have been filled with color. And all of our proofs are created by a human. They're not computer generated. They are created by a designer. And honestly, designers are human. So that particular designer made an error and the jacket was white. So he received a white jacket and he was not happy. He told us he lived up north. He can't wear white in the winter, all those things. And so we changed our proofing process. We completely changed that bottom right-hand corner to a full complete box that tells you the jacket color, the size, and the emblem colors that are included on the jacket. So that customer's unhappiness helped us get better and helped us change. And then we had another customer that didn't notice the box once. And so we ended up making the box a bright yellow and putting check here with an arrow. So everything trying to just make things better and easier for the client or the customer. Now, what's interesting about the story with the gentleman with the white jacket is he did keep it because he did approve it. And so we told him we could, give him 50% off of another jacket, but he was like, I'm not spending any more money. He wore the jacket and he got so many compliments on it that he bought 2 more jackets from us. So that ended positively in a couple of ways. But again, taking feedback from our customers, figuring out how we can make things better, ultimately helps our future customers. Number 4, involve technology in customer service. These days, what's really amazing is that we have so much help by way of technology when it comes to delivering excellent customer service. We can set up automatic responses to emails. We can tag clients or prospects and set up email automations to teach them or to assist them in their needs. Also, now there are AI-powered chatbots that can help streamline communication and personalization. These are things that can enhance the customer service experience when implemented correctly. So don't leave out the power that technology has and that technology can have in your business when it comes to delivering customer service to your prospects and customers. And lastly, go above and beyond. I can remember during interviews, one of the questions we used to ask to potential hires is, tell me about a time that you had to go above and beyond in your job or in a previous job. I always found it fascinating when people did not have an answer to this question. And though we're not talking about hiring right now, customers really do appreciate when businesses go above and beyond to help solve their problem. And I want to give you an example because last summer we remodeled our bathrooms. We've been in our home for almost 2 decades, and the bathrooms were builder grade and needed some upgrades. And in doing this, one of the things that I had to do was purchase a vanity for our kids' bathroom. My designer said, what we would charge you is going to be ridiculous. You should just order something from a store. It's going to be more affordable. And so I found this really nice looking vanity on overstock.com. And it was very nice. It came, it was delivered, but the builder or the contractor required that you have everything before they started because they were on a tight timeline. When they start your project, they want to get in and get out. Still took them 2 months, but that's the goal. Everything is already there when they start. And so I had this vanity sitting in my garage for 2 months. Now, mind you, this is partially my fault. Actually, it's all my fault as a customer. I did not open the box. The box looked very intact. There were no scratches or broken parts on the box, and I thought everything was fine. But when the gentleman who was installing the vanity 2 months later went to open the box, the top of the vanity was broken. And that slowed down the project because I had to then find another vanity. Well, I called Overstock. I told them the situation, and they said, well, you only have 30 days to report anything being broken. I said, well, it's been sitting in my garage for almost 60 days, and I didn't have to open it because the people hadn't gotten to it yet. Now, hindsight being 2020, I should have opened the box. But when I tell you this thing was sealed up, wrapped up, saran wrapped, it was a major task to open it. And so I thought, well, I'm paying these people thousands of dollars to do our bathroom and they'll open the box. Don't do that. Open your box. Make sure everything's intact. And so Overstock would not help me. I could not even buy a separate vanity because they did not make it that way. And somehow after calling many, many times, I finally found someone who told me who actually manufactured the vanity top. And when I called them, they were very helpful. I had to go through, I found out this information actually through a Wayfair representative because they carried the same vanity. I just happened to buy it through Overstock. But Wayfair pointed me to the manufacturer. The manufacturer said, hey, we don't actually sell that one separately. But if you buy this one, I will put a note. If you send me the order number, I'll put a note to pull this one that you need instead. And when I tell you, not only did he do this, but he followed up with me. He texted me back and say, hey, did you get the order number? Okay, great. I got the order number. And it's going out this day. And I had to pay for this because Overstock wouldn't do anything. It had been too long to file a chargeback. Anyway, I know this is a long story, but my point is truthfully, I made a commitment at that point that if I need anything else, I'm not buying it from Overstock. I will buy it from Wayfair. Now, it was my fault, though. Truly, I didn't read and know about the 30 days. But the fact that the Wayfair representative went out of their way to give me the information and the manufacturer who supplies Wayfair and Overstock, but supplies Wayfair was very, very helpful. And so, honestly, I just have a preference at this moment for Wayfair over Overstock. So again, when people go above and beyond for you, when you go above and beyond for your client or customers, they will remember that. And though they may not need your service for another year or a few months or a couple of years, but they will refer you to others and they will come back to you if they need your services again. So go above and beyond. I want to leave you with this one last quote before I close out this episode. And this is a quote from Sam Walton. There's only one boss, the customer. And he can fire anybody in the company from the chairman on down simply by spending his money somewhere else. I really like this quote because it speaks to what we're talking about today, delivering customer service in an exceptional way or an excellent way, going above and beyond, all the things that makes a company stand out from the crowd, especially these days, because I don't feel like we get a lot of excellent customer service anymore. But one caveat to that, and while I do agree with this quote, there's also another quote that says, the customer is always right. And this is one I simply don't agree with. And as I mentioned before, in the Overstock situation, I was actually wrong. I was actually the one who didn't read the terms and conditions. And so that's on me. Of course, I still get to choose where I spend my money. But a customer is not always right because you may have certain policies in place. You may have and do certain things for certain reasons. You know your cost. Think about it. A customer may come and say, well, this shouldn't cost that much. Well, they don't really know your true cost. They don't know your overhead. They don't know those things. So a customer is not always right. But customers, at the end of the day, are the people who provide our paychecks. They are the people that put money into the business that allows us to grow, that allow us to invest in technology, that allow us to market our businesses to others. Our customers are the people who do that. So I wanted to leave you with that last little thought as we talk about customer service and delivering that as a solopreneur, as a large company, as a small company, however you define yourself. But I wanted to leave you with that. So I've left you with a few more nuggets today to help you deliver excellent customer service. Review them. Figure out what you already have implemented and perhaps where you can make some changes. Your customers will appreciate you, and that will lead to you having a sustainable and growing business. I am grateful for you. Thanks for listening today. Just a reminder that my free ebook, 11 Secrets to Small Business Success, is still available on my website to download at monicaallen.com. Go over and grab that or see the link in the show notes. I'm in the process of revamping my website in the near future, so I'm not sure how long the ebook will be available for download, so go ahead and grab that. If you don't mind, also take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Leaving a 5-star review truly helps the podcast grow, helps other people find it and listen. So if you could pop over and do that, that would be amazing. Remember, as I said last week, customer service is about serving. And if we have no one to serve, we do not have a business. Remember also that now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.